Any advice for Americans who want to move to Japan?
If you're like broke and in America and you've always wanted to come to Japan like I did, I have really good practical advice to lock in. Keep working your boring job for like 3 to 6 months. Save up as much as you can. Go on GoGo Nihon or some other website and find like a very cheap language school. There's 3 types of language schools. One is just like cheap for a visa. One is like you actually learn. And then the top one is like only Chinese and Korean students that learn Japanese really fast. So choose wisely. Then once you do that, they'll take care of the visa process. You can live here for 2 years. Upon arrival, you'll get free national insurance, or it's very cheap. You should buy a really cheap flight ticket to like Los Angeles on like Spirit or Frontier. And then you should take like a $300 direct flight from Los Angeles to Tokyo on like Zip Airlines. Once you're in Japan, just eat like matsuya every day for like $2. If you want to like meet people, go on Meetup and meet like groups with similar interests. And if you want to drink, just buy soju at the konbini for $1. And there's your whole life, and it's very cheap.
Any advice for Americans who want to...
Yeah, it's not that easy, although I do know about the all the steps that he talked about, but you know, he missed out a couple of things there. What is up, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix. Today we're talking about Americans moving to Japan. People are making the move. People are not waiting anymore. People aren't waiting anymore, my friends. Okay, so we're gonna play some TikTok videos about how people move from America to Japan. And I'm going to make some commentary on my knowledge about the country and the language, because I have studied Japanese. I know katakana, I know hiragana, and a little bit of kanji, although kanji is so freaking difficult. But anyways, all right. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's play our next video.
To move from the U.S. to Okinawa, Japan. Full disclosure up front, we spent a bag. However, we are very financially responsible and have budgeted and saved meticulously for this trip because we knew it was going to be a huge expense. I'm a firm believer that everything is possible with discipline, structure, and living in a little bit of Delulu simultaneously. All right, so let's break it down. The biggest singular expense before we left was getting our dog to Japan. If you didn't know, this process is a lot. He has to be registered with the Japanese government. In Okinawa, it's a rabies-free island, so he's got to quarantine for 90 days. He had to get all of his shots redone, the works. Then we had to get a driver to drive him from Utah to Seattle because he couldn't fly due to the heat embargoes on commercial flights. He then stayed in a pet hotel near the airport overnight while we flew. Jax alone was $3,500. Then we stayed in a Virgo 2 weeks before the actual move. We rented out our home, and the people who rented it sight unseen, and they were coming from a different state. They asked to move in early, it is in advance, so we allowed them to move in. But that meant that we needed to get up out of there. That was $25.18 for the stay, not including food, gas, and anything else. Got our house professionally cleaned and steamed the floors because, you know, kids. That was about $1,200 for both of those together. Adding up all of our other expenses, including food and gas for our truck, our mortgage, which is about $1,600 a month, childcare in the U.S., which is nearly $2,000, and we had them in childcare up until the day that we left. We bought 2 vehicles once we got into Okinawa, all cash. That was about $6,600 for both, and everything else in between. We spent a whopping $18,623.87 in 1 month. I know what you're thinking, and yes, we're rich. Just kidding. No, we just budget, we plan ahead, we grind, and we make it happen. The crazy thing is that it's been less than a month since we left, and we've made a little over $15,000 of that back from our side income streams, not even having to tap into our corporate jobs and incomes. And
all right, let me stop it right there. So what I got from this video is that if you want to make traveling to Japan affordable, first of all, do not travel with pets. Don't travel with pets, people. No, but seriously, it seems like these people, it seems to me that they were self-employed, so they were able to get, you know, they have the income to travel abroad, to travel over to Japan very nicely. And that's one of the things about, you know, being able to travel overseas is that if you got a lot of money saved up, or if you have like you know, like an online business or something, it will work out beautifully. It will work out beautifully. In this case, these folks, they got, you know, they were pretty wealthy, I guess, or not wealthy. They were financially well off.
Home in Japan.
It's a lot of factors.
If I could name a couple.
Why did you move to Japan, and what are your plans in Japan?
I'm originally from Rhode Island in America. I came to Japan for work originally. I spent 7 years here. I fell in love with the culture, the food, and the people themselves. I find that people go out of their way to help you. No matter how much you can speak Japanese, it helps, of course, to speak Japanese. I do plan long term to live in Japan, at least for the near future. I just want to settle down here. It's a little different feeling than America. I think this fits my personality the best.
What made you want to pursue buying a home in Japan?
It's a lot of factors. If I could name a couple off the top of my head, the expensive real estate market where I came from. I just came from California. I can't afford that. Japan housing fits my budget. You also get a lot more for your dollar, I would say, especially if you earn in US dollar, which I do right now. The cost.
Yeah, so the cool thing about living in Japan now is that the US dollar to the Japanese yen, you get more for your dollar because the Japanese yen has been going down in value. And also the houses over there are more affordable, you know, like especially if you buy one of those old houses in Japan, you can buy it for like $5,000 and then use like $10,000 to fix it up. And I mean, if you saved up a good amount of money in America, you know, you go to Japan, buy a house over there, you're good, man. You're good to go. So yeah, man, I like, look, man, I tell people like from now on, if you want to like build some type of future, like make your money in the USA and get the hell up out of the country. But this guy is smart. This guy is smart. He went over to Japan for work, but guess what? He stayed for the Japanese girls. He's looking for that waifu. He's looking for one of them schoolgirls. He's looking for one of them anime. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, I mean, a lot of dudes, they go to Japan. Yeah, like once you go to Japan, you love it. You want to stay there. You want to stay there. But also, Japanese girl make everything worthwhile. I speak from experience. Anyways, move on. Hold on.
The movers are here. It's finally moving day. It's a little surreal to be honest, but let's start moving to Tokyo.
She's moving to Japan, so she's shipping her items. That's actually really expensive. I think like if you're moving, like if you're sending your things in a boat, like in one of those cargo ships, I think it's about $2,000. If I'm not mistaken, I think maybe a little more than that. It's pretty pricey, but you gotta have the money for that. All right, let's go to our next vid. Oh, I like street interviews. My favorite.
You've been in Japan for 25 years. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you? So I want to do that story. Compose yourself. Compose yourself.
All right. It was one of my first experience. Well, I got used to the Japanese onsen, and in the Japanese onsen, basically you have to, you obviously no clothes on. And I'm sitting in the onsen, and the Japanese guy was looking across from me, and I guess I can tell like he was curious because he never really see a black guy. So he looked down at me. And I really didn't know Japanese much, and he was like, oh, sugoi ne. And then he reached over, and I thought, you know, he was like reached over to me, and he went to touch it. And I'm like, dude, what you doing? And he kind of smiled at me, and I was like, I was more shocked than anything. And I was like, what are you doing? I was like, nah. So that was my most shocking thing that happened.
That only happened once, right?
Once.
Thank God.
I know better now. It's like I have a look that I give now.
Okay, I immediately regret watching this video. What the? Okay, no, this is no, this was not part of the plan. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm Strawberry, and I live in
Now we're talking.
Japan. I work as an elementary school English teacher, and I live in the countryside. So basically, I've wanted to move to Japan since I was 12 years old. My family forced me to move from Nebraska to Florida in the middle of my 7th grade year. I became extremely depressed and I found some kind of escapism in learning about Japanese culture. I stumbled upon a Japanese tea ceremony on.
Let me stop it right there. Why is it that Japan is always like the dream fantasy land of escapism? And this is even people that are not into anime, even people that are not into anime. I find it that around the world, especially in the Western world, Western countries, North America, Japan always becomes like this escapism. I wonder why.
YouTube, and that kind of sparked my love for Japanese culture. I started learning about how to put on traditional clothing such as kimono. I learned about traditional Japanese foods and their pickling processes for daikon and similar foods of that nature. And I just became very enmeshed and absorbed in Japanese culture as a whole, as a way to escape from the reality of my life in middle school when I was going through a lot of awkward transitions and I was in a new state. It was terrible, but I had an end goal and I did it. Not to mention, I do think that subconsciously my brain knew that there was literally no place further away from my parents than Japan on the globe. So with that being said, I think
that's a good way to escape.
Consciously, I did romanticize wanting to move as far away as I possibly could because of the abuse that I was enduring at home. Japan is not a perfect country. I don't want to sit here and romanticize it because I do think that that is harmful. However, I am so incredibly honored to be here. I love Japan. I love living in this country. And of course, there have been ups and downs in terms of settling in. It's really hard to live here as a foreigner, but I feel very, very grateful to be here. I applied for my job in January of 2024 and I was accepted to the position in March of 2024.
Cool.
And that is when I started preparing for my departure, which would literally be in March of 2025.
Okay, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her. Yeah, especially since she said she was going through some things at home. She wanted to escape her parents. Yeah. Yeah, and now she's in Japan, probably teaching English. Probably. So good. Yeah, one of the easiest ways is really to just teach English in Japan. But in Japan, you need a bachelor's degree. Like they don't accept anything less than that. So yeah.
All right. I have booked my one-way ticket to Japan. If you're considering to do the same, here are my recommendations. Start monitoring your flights now. So you can use Capital One or Google to set up alerts and book as soon as you get a good deal. If you're planning on staying longer than the 90 days, which is all I'm staying, you may want to look into visas. I'm going to do another video on all the different types of visas, so just stick around. Know what type of visa you're eligible for. I'm only going to be staying the 90-day stay, so it's not really relevant to me, but if you are staying longer, then you may want to research all the different types of visa options they have. I will be doing a video on this at a later point. Make sure to get your health and travel insurance together. Japan does have great health insurance, but make sure to get your own just in case you need it. If you are staying longer than the 90 days, you may have to get the national health insurance, and that's a whole nother problem. Make sure you have your medical records handy and enough medication for the length of your stay. Make sure to research your medicine to see if it's allowed into Japan. Keep in mind, Adderall is banned. You do not want to bring it in. Check to see if your medicine is even allowed or if you may have to report it to customs. Get an international driving permit. You can get it at AAA for a minimal fee. Even if you don't plan on driving, you never know. Here are some apps you should download prior to your visit. There's the Suica app, which is to purchase public transportation. There's Google Translate, which will help you translating any type of...
And Google Maps. So what he said is absolutely true. But you see, one of the easiest ways to live in Japan, because we're talking about living there, not just going there as a tourist. When you go there, on the airport, Japan stamps your passport, and they give you a 90-day tourist visa. 90 days, okay? And that's the easy one. But if you want to stay longer, you can't just renew your tourist visa. Other countries allow you to renew your tourist visa, like Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia. You can just renew your visa and that's it. You can stay longer, maybe another 90 days. But in Japan, they don't. Once the 90 days is over, you're gonna have to apply for a different visa. So I know there's a freelancer visa, which it's kind of hard to get, to my understanding. The student visa, is one of the easiest ones if you're a student. Work visa, if you're going over there to teach English. But tourist visa extension is the hardest. But other Asian countries make it easy. Yeah. So let's move on to the next.
Americans or foreigners are treated like second-class citizens in Japan, and if so, why would they want to live here as second-class citizens?
If you come here with the entitlement that you're going to be treated equal when you didn't grow up here, when you don't speak the language, you got to come here with gauged expectations.
How long have you been in Japan?
17 years.
You want to just stay in Japan for the rest of your life?
America's not for everybody, and luckily we live in the 21st century where if you don't like where you live, you can move.
Do you think that Japan is better than America? You like it better?
America's it's dangerous. I don't like what's going on over there, and I think just Japan is a safer place to raise kids no matter what people complain about.
So you never want to go back to America?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, pretty much. Like, why not? It's safe here. I can go to the hospital whenever I want to. I can live in the center of the city and just have a normal blue-collar job, and it's great here. You can actually take the buses and the train anywhere you want. It's clean. The people are nice. The language is amazing.
And you don't have to deal with Democrats, Republicans, political movements, liberals, conservatives, all that nonsense, right? All that political nonsense that's destroying America. Yeah, man, don't leave. Stay in Japan. Don't leave. Like, for real, don't leave. Like, stay there and be happy because shit, dude. America's becoming a shit show over here, man. It is a circus, I tell you. And that's why a lot of people move to Japan. It's just peaceful. It's just so much more peaceful over there. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next.
Of applying for this Japanese scholarship. Okay, so you get to break your dependents. I know some of you don't know. Wait, yeah. If you get this scholarship, you can bring your wife or your husband and your kids to Japan. Yes, number 2. After graduation, you don't have to go. It's not by force. It is by choice. If you want to go, you go. If you don't want to go, you can remain in Japan, get a job, and start your life in Japan. Is that not a good benefit? Is that not something? Aside paying for your tuition fees, placing you on monthly allowance of more.
Cool.
I am taking one
Hold
week.
on, this one is kind of funny. This is Paolo from Tokyo.
Let's talk about why Japanese think foreigners living in Japan are rude. Number 1, working in Japan. So many foreigners coming and living in Japan are here for work. So let's start with that. And this first issue is one of those things that bother a lot of Japanese. You may already know that Japanese employees operate as a team, especially in the office environment, where everyone is required to do their part. But if you're working long enough with a company, you're eventually going to want to take some time off. Eventually during holidays and long weekends to maximize your time. What ends up happening is some foreigners don't consider their coworkers and take the time off as they please. They come in with that mindset that no matter what, they're taking the time off. No matter what, end of August, I am taking 1 week off. I deserve it. But therein lies a problem. In Japanese culture, it's important to consult with your coworkers beforehand and discuss ongoing and
that's called collectivism.
Future projects to make sure your projects are covered before taking the time off. Number 2, coming back from vacation. Now, if you were able to get that time off without alienating yourself from your team, it's now time to return the favor. This comes in the form of omiyage, a gift usually from a place you visited, maybe a box of sweets or snacks to share with the team. Since many of them had to cover for you while you were gone, this is a gesture to say thank you for handling my workload when I was gone. And here's a little treat so you can experience a piece of my holiday. Forgetting this as well as taking holiday as you please would be a double punch to your coworkers. Number 3, greeting your neighbors. What many people don't know when moving into a new place is that you're supposed to greet and give a gift to your neighbors to introduce yourself. But it's probably fair to say that this is one of those older customs that even some younger Japanese families aren't following themselves. This is more common in less densely populated areas.
Actually, believe it or not, this was also common in America. it's, you know, in old America in the 1950s, 40s, when somebody moved to your neighborhood, you would welcome those people by giving them something like usually people bake a cake or something, or like make some food and say, hello neighbor, welcome, you know, welcome to the neighborhood. Give them, I don't know, a cake, some type of, some gift, something, right? So this was also a thing in America, but nobody does that anymore because, I mean, yeah, people just don't do it anymore. It will be nice. It will be nice, like when you move to an area and then your neighbors welcome you to say hi, hello. That'd be nice, but I don't know. America has been so divided. We have lost some beautiful, you know, traits and traditions.
Areas, especially homes where you often see neighbors, and less common in densely populated areas like Tokyo and large apartment buildings. The idea behind it is for neighbors to get to know who you are, and the gift itself doesn't need to be major, usually a snack or towel worth about $5 to $10. Number 4, visiting someone's home. At some point, you'll probably be invited to someone's home, and you probably already know that when entering a Japanese home, you're supposed to take off your shoes. But what many don't know is that there's a proper way to do it, and when Japanese don't do it themselves, it kind of shows that they weren't raised correctly. Just after you take off your shoes, you don't just leave it as is and walk in. You're supposed to take off the shoes, line it up, and reface it towards the door, like this. Doesn't it look just so much cleaner this way? Number 5, shopping for food. So if you ever make your way to a supermarket, you might want to know this one. In Japan, it's considered bad manners to peel out the food and put it back, especially in the meat section and produce section. 1, no one wants bruised peaches or kiwis, plus it makes the fruit unsellable. And there's something about someone else pressing up on your meat. The idea is all that food is going into someone's mouth, and by touching
Wagyu. Wagyu. I love Wagyu meat. Wagyu meat is so freaking delicious, bro. It's making me want to buy it.
it's like putting your fingers inside of their mouth. Like many of these unwritten rules, it's something that you're taught when you're a kid. So it's even rude to tell someone that you're being rude to their face. So you probably won't even have any of your Japanese friends tell it to your face, but they may talk behind your back. Number 6, eating manners. Now there's so many eating manners and chopstick etiquette rules here in Japan that I couldn't cover it all in this video. But one thing that I didn't mention and that Japanese think is really gross and that some foreigners don't realize is licking your chopsticks is really just kind of
Licking your chopstick is rude? You know what? I think I'm the type of person to do that, like licking your chop. If the food was like amazing, if the food was like really freaking good, I'll lick my chopsticks. But then the Japanese people around me are gonna be like, look at this weirdo, look at this rude American. Oh my god. All right, dudes. But what do you think? What do you think? We got a lot of tips here. Especially that very first video. So we got a lot of good tips when America's moving to Japan. So whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, everybody. It's your boy, Andy Matrix. Godspeed.